Hey guys, welcome back to the Rad Hyrox podcast. We've got a guest today that we've already spoken to on the podcast before. She's part of the Rox Queens. Lhea Terzaki, she's now been named as an official Hyrox Ambassador for, I think, the second year going, is it? Yeah. She's a Rox Queen Ambassador. She's a Hyrox coach, a hybrid coach, taking women from gym goers to hybrid athletes. And we're back again to check in and see how her journey's going and what she's got planned for the future for the 24-25 season. So thanks for coming back on, Lhea. How are you doing?
Oh no, it's all right. Thank you for having me back on. Everything's all good. It's been busy.
Yeah, it's all got a bit mad for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, in the best possible way. Like I wouldn't change it. I'd probably be saying I'm really bored if it was if it wasn't this busy. Kind of obsessed with the growth, which is obviously a positive and a good thing. But yeah, I feel like Hyrox, not just me, but I feel like Hyrox in general over the last probably 6 months, probably even since we've last spoke, has just completely blown up.
It has, hasn't it? It's like just gone like fourfold. But also, I think just in the UK is mad for it, aren't they?
Oh, it's ridiculous, like absolutely ridiculous. And what's really, really good for me to see, and you'll probably understand yourself, is that it's the women who are taking over.
Yeah, I mean the Rox Queens. Like, let's start there. Let's start with the Rox Queens because we had you guys on. We had you on with Bryony and Caitlin before. If no one's listened to that podcast, that was a good one to introduce who the Rox Queens are, how to get involved, and what you guys are aiming to do. How's things going with the Rox Queens? Like since we last spoke,
incredible, absolutely incredible. The growth of that has been absolutely insane. We're now branching out into different countries. So we're now having ambassadors based over in the US, ambassadors based over in Dubai. We had Australia, but it's growing a lot more in Australia now.
Yeah.
The Australians are getting the bug for it just as much as we are. You know when Hyrox is taking over, when all the spectator tickets are selling out.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
You know exactly. What I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So the Australian team are growing as well. We're just branching it out to wherever we can do, and it's incredible. Caitlin's actually going over to Bali at the end in 2 weeks' time. So she's going to start branching out over on that side of things as well. So we're going absolutely international, which is insane, and just seeing so many women come together as well. Like I think it's so easy as well. Like I've not come from a sporting background to feel intimidated by women in sport.
Yeah.
But the fact that all of these women are coming from different backgrounds, people who are like elite athletes or going to be in that elite category, like people like Lucy Proctor, for example, mixing and speaking to people who mums of like 2 who are working full time and like mingling and like helping them and inspiring them is just truly, truly incredible. Or like people like myself helping like just anybody to get to where they want to be and just feel comfortable in that space. And I think there's not a lot of communities that are like that within sport. I think it's like if we look at, for example, like athletics, like the Olympics have been on, they're very cocky, they're very like, I'm going to beat you type of situation, kind of got an ego about it. Whereas like people in Hyrox, there is going to be a few people, there always is, but it's more often than not people are very, very nice and very understanding and very, very supportive. I think that's one thing that the Rox Queens have been able to push and develop even more, which is everything that we wanted as ambassadors. Like that's what Caitlin wanted at the start as well. So it's just been really, really good to see on that side of things as well.
I know you like, because you've run events and things, don't you? You've done like track days, you've done like Hyrox days, you've done like loads of nutrition talks. Like you've got loads of people involved as well, haven't you? Like I know we had like that nutrition guy Daryl Chorley that did our podcast, and he went and did a day. You had the one with Hunter. You've done like Becca Mason's gone and done some stuff. So it's quite nice because you bring in like loads of different people in from the community. And what about the one thing we were like thinking about, how has it been and received with having like guys it like not teach but like obviously at different things, like has that been received well? Are people like, because it's a female community, it's quite nice that you're bringing guys in, like, so we haven't got these barriers and these like his, her, you know, or what's the thoughts on that?
So like it's been received quite well within the community. Obviously, like a lot of people, even as women, look up to people like Hunter, for example.
Yeah.
So within that side of things, it is very, I think the women have actually enjoyed it. But then also as well, we are wanting to get more women involved within the community, which is why we're branching out to everywhere and like other women within like the top levels of the sport to get a little bit more involved because it is a female community at the end of the day. But then also as well, like utilizing the skills that we've got as coaches within the team. So we're going to be a little bit more involved. So like myself, I'm doing my level 4 nutrition qualification. So one under a degree level, basically in nutrition, sports nutrition. I've also obviously done like I'm a Hyrox coach. Like also then like Bryony, she's a Hyrox coach. We've all got like different things that we can bring to the table, and we're all women as well. And it's like not a lot of people have spoke about like the female cycle and how that obviously it's a massive thing and people don't speak about it enough.
100%. There's a lot of really good people doing stuff now. Like if anyone, like Dr. Stacey Sims is huge, and I've done quite a few courses with her, and like what she puts out for women in sport, and especially older women in sport as well, and pushing that like strong rather than skinny, like, you know, lift weights and that kind of emphasis that's going to link with Hyrox and getting more women into Hyrox, and not just running but also doing the strength development part. I just think it's really interesting you're bringing other people in, which is so nice to have a community, but also bring other people that are in the community into it. And then people get to, like you said, get to learn from different people, because you can always learn off everyone, can't you?
100%. And it's just getting different perspective, and in like when you get them different perspectives, you can get a better perspective for yourself to make it individualized to you then, because you can be like, oh well, maybe this is extreme, but like maybe the type of training Hunter does like for hours a day isn't going to be suitable for me, but maybe I can take things from that. But maybe
100%.
maybe like how many times a week I train, that might be suitable for them. So it's like take things from other people and then piece it all together. And I think that's really, really important to be empowered by knowledge, but don't get overwhelmed by knowledge as well. Because I think it's so easy to go into rabbit holes of like, oh my God, I'm doing everything wrong. I should be changing this, 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 and this. And I speak to people all the time, like on consultation calls, and it's like, what are you doing at the minute? She was like, it's like, I'm just looking on TikTok and Instagram. I'm like, guys, that ain't gonna cut it.
It's hard to filter the information from that as well, from people that know what they're talking about to people that, you know, they might have done well or they might look really fit, but it doesn't mean they are fit and healthy. And it's finding the right people to listen to, isn't it?
And I also think as well, like, because Hyrox has become a little bit of a buzzword within like social media to go viral and to like make a living off like the brand Hyrox. I think it's a really, really, that's like kind of the sinister side of it all, because them sort of people aren't pouring out things to help people. They're pouring things there to help themselves.
100%.
Like I've seen people who are doing it who's never even raced in a race. And I'm like, you can't
do something you've never done. Like you need to
how can you
need to go and experience it, don't you?
Yeah, and the thing is like, if you was like, for example, like these sprint coaches, half of them haven't been sprinters, but they've got the knowledge there and they've got the track record to back it up. And I don't think people are understanding like the load capacity that people have to go under to perform optimally. And when I say perform optimally, it's perform optimally to the individual. I don't think people understand the intensity it can get up to, and people are just like slamming heavy wads into sessions or like heavy sprint sessions, and then they're getting injured, they're getting burnt out. And it's like, it's really, really important, the fact that that's managed, and it's dangerous. Like I've come across it so many times this last couple of weeks, obviously coming up to Birmingham and speaking to women in like on Instagram and like in the Rox Queens group on consultations. And so many women are just burning themselves out before they can even get to bloody pre-season, because they've still been continuing the type of training, like because they've seen for example, I don't know, like someone's done like a Hyrox one and they've been like, oh yeah, I'll get that in my session.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's so early. I think the sport's so young that that everyone's training the way they think they should train, and people are coming into it and, you know, just finding Hyrox workouts and thinking that's what I've got to do. And they're like every day back to back to back doing these big Hyrox workouts. They're having no recovery days, no active recovery. They're not doing steady long runs. You know,
Oh,
people are just absolute, and they've gone from nothing to, you
100.
know, 100. Yeah. And but they've got no one. I mean, like, that's the whole thing about having a coach. It's not just someone to push you, it's also someone to structure your training and hold you back and ensure you don't get injured, because we are
Yeah.
seeing quite a high injury rate. And I think it will happen at the beginning until it starts to ground, and probably things like social media don't help, because everyone sees someone doing it or training twice a day and thinks, you know, I
Yeah.
should train twice a day, or they're doing 1,000 wall balls for time or something, and they're like, oh, I only did
Oh.
100 wall balls for time today. Maybe I need to go and do my extra 900.
Honestly, I'm like, when people tell me what they're doing, sometimes I'm like, just let me plan, like just let me plan your sessions for you, because I'm like, what the actual, like like, and it's hard to turn around to someone and be like, what you are doing right now is like, it's not right. Because you turn around and tell someone that straight away, they're gonna have the backup and they'll be like, oh my God, like
Get defensive,
they're
yeah.
getting defensive. But the reality is, that's what a lot of people are structuring the training at the minute. And it's like, if you're going to be doing that, that's something you should be doing like 3 weeks before racing. Like, if that's the type of training that, and I don't think people realize that. And it's like you were saying, it's so new in the sport. And because we've had so many people come to us from, for either like after London, after Worlds, like come to us injured. I've had to take someone, I've taken Holly on, who's a sports therapist, who works with them athletes, because I want to make sure that they're doing it in the safest way possible. Because I'll hold my hands up, I have no bloody idea what I'm doing with injuries. Like,
Yeah.
that's not, I know how the body works, I know how to to push someone's for performance optimally and manage their nutrition. Like, and then manage the mindset as well to come with it. But injury wise, I've no idea. Yes, I was injured myself, but I'm not going to pass my advice, what I was given for me as an individual,
Yeah,
on
because it's so
everybody
different.
else. And I
Yeah.
think that's also something that's coming to fruition as well. The fact that so many people are getting injured, they're coming through an injury, they're putting their information out on social media and how they've coped it and saying this is the way that you should do it. People go and doing that, and it's making them worse.
Yeah, well, it's very like individualized, isn't it? I mean,
For
Lucy
sure.
Davis, you know, Lucy Davis,
Yeah.
and she's been injured, and she said in one of her videos that she purposely doesn't put out any information about her rehab because it's specific to her.
Individual.
Yeah, and I think it's really good. Like, you've just hit the nail on the head there, saying, you know, you don't know everything, and it's very, like, it's good that there's people in the space that say, I hold my hands up and I'll get an expert in. You can't be an expert in everything. Like, and if anyone says they
Oh,
are an expert in everything, then you should definitely question it, because people
it's a
have
red
their,
flag.
yeah, it's a red flag straight away, isn't it? People have their expertise in certain things, and it's
Yeah.
great that, yeah, you're there. I think going back to what you said about helping people and looking at the Rox Queens, this is probably why it has grown exponentially, because you're there to help people, not to gain anything from it. It's
Like,
because people want to do it and you want to bring people together, that it's working so
100%.
well.
Like, for me, when I first started Hyrox, like, I'm going into my third season now. When I first started, like, there was nothing. Like, for me, training, there was absolutely, like, I started, like, when there was nothing there on the internet, there was nothing there on Instagram, like, coaches wasn't really a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, when I first,
It's definitely grown the last couple of years, hasn't it?
so when I started going, because I'd always coached like functional fitness hybrid. When I started like niching down, shall we say, into Hyrox, I was like, I want to be that person that makes difference, because I don't want anyone ever to feel like I did going into that first race, absolutely bricking myself, thinking, have I done enough? I don't know how I've trained. Like, I don't want to be just sticking on a 1K after the end of a strength session, because that's compromise running, because that's all the information that was out there.
Yeah.
And it's
compromise
laughable.
running was like the thing, wasn't it? You were like, what is compromise? Oh, maybe I need to do a compromise run.
Yeah, and I was like,
Everyone's
compromise
like,
running. I was
compromise
like,
running.
compromise running. Just do a few leg sessions and then
And then
do
run.
it at the end. Yeah, I can do that. And I did that, and I absolutely weren't even that bad of a race, got 1:23. So like, to be fair,
Yeah.
a little prep that I did didn't do too bad.
No,
But
totally.
going into that race, I could have been so much better prepared. And for me, mindset's been a massive thing within my journey, like consistently throughout, because like, speaking to my mindset coach at the minute, and she was like, every level that you get to, every time you level up, there's always going to be like a new devil. So it's like you're always going to come across something that is going to stop you, hold you back, getting to that next level again. And she's so right. And it happens all the time throughout, and you'll notice it yourself within training as well. Like, you'll get to a point within your training of being like, oh my God, like, can I actually go faster? Or can I actually lift more? And it's working around that mindset of being like actually truly believing in yourself. And that's why I kind of work like I do as well, because it was like, I don't want anyone to feel like and I keep saying, I don't want anyone to feel like I did go into that first race kind of thinking, oh, what's people going to think of me? I'm going to be embarrassing myself. Like, I'm not actually going to be that fast. Even like giving up in the race, like slowing down when I could have probably have pushed. Because I was uncomfortable. And it's like, when you're feeling that discomfort, keep on going, because that's you pushing to that next point. Happened in my session this morning as well. It's like, oh my God, my legs are going to give up, because I've started my compromise running now, ready for pre-season. Oh my God, my legs. My legs.
Feels so heavy.
Oh, it was heavy. And I was like, on my last 2K, I was like, come on, just push. Just push.
Yeah.
And you get through it, and you've just got to kind of train your brain into that working for you, not working against you.
100%. And it's experience as well, isn't it? It's like people getting used to knowing, like you said, being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's just getting out. And I think this is the nice thing about having the community, is people getting out and actually doing their first Hyrox race, so they get it under the belt and they know they can finish. And it almost spurs them on then to try and find the places where they can, make the time up. Or
and that for me is truly incredible. Like, seeing, because like a lot of our, like, we've got like kind of a nice 50-50 split on our team of people who've done like athletics, gymnastics, swimming, competitive sport growing up, and then the other 50% haven't. And it's like, because both parties, shall we say, have been out of sport for so many years and then coming back into sport, prove to themselves that they can cross that finish line, be that 98% of Hyrox that doesn't necessarily go to Worlds.
Yeah.
Is truly, like, it's very, very emotional for me, because I know how much it means for them to do it. And it's like, we've got mums who work full time and doing it for the kids. They've got then the girls who have been athletes and then proving to themselves that they can do it and not have to rely on a team behind them. They've got the girls who have never ever been sporty or been like kind of the overweight kid growing up, and then they're coming into sport and then seeing how well they can do and pushing themselves to that next level. People who weren't confident, and like, for seeing that, for me, you can't put a price on it.
Yeah, that's what keeps you going, isn't it? That's like your purpose and your drive to keep, for sure. And then, so take us back to your, you said you were doing hybrid coaching before this started. How did you get involved in, I know we covered it a little bit on the last podcast, but how did you get involved in Hyrox, and where were you before? What were you doing? Were you just in a gym? Were you doing obstacle course race? What were you doing before?
Training, I wasn't confident enough to do a competition at all, because I was like, that's just, I'm going to embarrass, like, them self-doubts, limiting beliefs, not really for me, not really gonna do well. I'd done like running through COVID, because obviously the gyms were shut.
Well, everyone did.
It was HIIT training and running.
Yeah.
And I was running for like miles a day. Like, do you know, you was only meant to have like your hour outside.
Yeah.
Well, an hour outside for me, it was probably about 4 hours outside.
Once you're out, you're like, I'm out
Once I
now,
was
I'm
there,
doing my hour.
literally, I was like, I'd run and then I'd walk back. So it'd be like probably about 3 hours. Um, and it was like every single day. And it was very obsessive. So I wouldn't say that was healthy. Would not recommend to go running for like nearly 3 hours a day, every single day. Because it actually led to quite a bad relationship with myself and like my body as well. Because I went from one end of the spectrum of being quite chunky to then going to the other end of the spectrum and being really unhealthily skinny, to the point where like my mum turned around in COVID and she was like, "Lee, all of your chest, you can see all of like your bones coming through your chest." I know it was just, and my shoulders, like there was nothing there. It was just complete. It was bad. It was really, really bad. So continued kind of the running side of things. And I was working with a coach at the time who was more like body composition, but we integrated the running because obviously that's all we could do in COVID. And it was more to kind of get my self-confidence back, feeling good in myself. And I did feel good in myself, but then it also had that kind of, I think it was like body dysmorphia, to be quite honest with you.
Did you listen to your mum? Like, when your mum said that to you, did you listen, or were you just, it's quite hard, isn't it? Like with families and friends and close people, your mum was obviously trying to say something like and help, but until the individual wants to listen, I guess.
Honestly, it was just like, and it upset me because at the time it was like, you're lying to me. Like, no, you're not. I'm not. That in denial completely, and like kind of got my back up a little bit and was like, no, I'm not. Like,
yeah, bit defensive, bit like
defensive, massive.
yeah.
Like, it was just not nice. Anyway, carried on because maybe me doesn't listen. I ended up actually getting injured. I did something to my glute minimus and it was constantly just tight, but that's because I weren't feeling my body enough to actually recover and repair it. And because I've got a slight hip shift as well from dancing when I was like younger, up until the age of like 16, 15. And doing ballet, having to stand in like kind of like your first, second, third position, like my body just got used to like being in that hip shift.
Okay.
So with having that and then running on a hip shift, I was running kind of like on a slant. So then my glute was just going tighter and tighter and tighter. Then obviously not eating enough food to fuel my performance. Just completely, I couldn't walk.
Your body's got a break point, hasn't it? At some point, it's gonna.
And that's what kind of changed then. Because I was like, obviously the gyms opened back up in like kind of the October time as we went in lockdown in the March. Then in the October time-ish, that's when the gym started up. And so I started training in the gym to get stronger. Went saw a physio, he'd release it, sort it out. It's been fine since. But then it kept coming back every time my food dropped lower.
Okay.
So then that's when it made me to look at my nutrition. And this is why I'm so passionate about the nutrition side of things and making sure women are feeling the performance, because it's honestly a make or break. Genuinely is. If you're eating enough or you're under eating, you could be it's a mad statistic. If you're 2%, I think it's either 2 or 3% dehydrated, then that can inhibit your performance levels.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think it's even 1%. It's like literally once
It's
you're dehydrated,
the smallest little bit.
Yeah.
And for me, it was just ridiculous. Like I needed to sort it out. Anyway, then kind of continued running-ish, not as intensely because we thought that was the trigger.
Okay.
At the time, looking back at it now in hindsight, because hindsight's a bloody great thing, it was the nutrition side of thing. I was massively under recovering. I was studying my PT qualification at the same time as doing like my second year of uni. And obviously the stress of COVID as well, having that uncertainty was just kind of all up in the air. So we kind of backed off the running because we thought that was the issue. It was the under eating and the stress and all of that.
Yeah, and the stress for everything you're saying, but then also the stress from exercise, and then the stress from your body not fueling properly.
100%.
It's kind of like it's all going to add up, isn't it?
And this is what people don't realize as well. Like stress goes into the same bucket. And it's like if you're mentally stressed, it goes into that bucket. If you're also putting a lot of physical stress on your body, it also goes into that bucket.
Yeah,
And
stress
this
is
bucket can
stress.
only hold so much. And I always say this, like, our body is such a clever thing, but it's also very stupid when it comes to stress. Because it can't differentiate the two, because mentally you're like, that could be that's fine, but then your body's still screaming at you saying no, or vice versa, like your head's saying no and then your body's saying yeah. And again, it comes with time understanding whether it is you just being lazy and low in energy, or you're actually physically stressed.
Yeah, totally. And a lot of people that are stressed then go and work out because it's that the way they de-stress, but also not realizing if you're mega stressed and then you put this really like full on workout, you know, into your week, or like 3 or 4 times a week to get away from that stress, it's like it's all just compounding. It's almost like the highest achievers and like people that are so go-getting almost need to go and do the opposite, which is something like yoga and stretching and something just a bit more like yeah a bit more zen, to just get your body down, like get all the, you know, the cortisol and all the adrenaline and everything, just like relax yourself. But everyone goes for this high intensity session because they want to like get out the system and push themselves. And
and one thing that's really, really helped me manage that a lot more now is doing breath work.
Okay, yeah, fair.
Like genuinely doing breath work for like my people can do it for like 20-30 minutes. For me, my concentration rate is just 10 minutes. That's it. Like that's
Yeah,
all I
I'm
can
quite like
handle.
that. I feel like a lot of people that might listen to this podcast might be similar.
Yeah. So like 10 minutes of breath work if I'm feeling stressed, overwhelmed, anything like that. I do it every day anyway. So I'll do it either in the morning or at night before I go to bed. And it just makes me feel so much more calmer, because obviously it's like decompressing your body, it's helping alleviate any cortisol, it's calming your nervous system down. That's the whole purpose of it. But if you mention
Totally,
that
yeah.
to someone and they're like, breath work, like, and they turn the nose up at it, I'm like, honestly, just try it for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it really, really does help. And it also has really helped my athletic performance as well, in terms of like being able to actually physically breathe when I'm running.
Yeah, 100%. It's
Because the
such a
more
difference.
oxygen flow that you've got in your body, the better you are going to be in terms of like exerting yourself under pressure, tension. And also as well, like if you're feeling uncomfortable, mad, but accept that you're feeling uncomfortable rather than fight it.
Yeah,
And then you're actually able to
like
continue.
embrace it almost.
Yeah, it's mad.
It is crazy. And then some of the best people that, you know, there's a lot of people who are incredible athletes, but some of the best athletes, and like you probably see it with like Lauren and Meg and stuff, is that they can just push through discomfort. They can just be uncomfortable and keep going and keep pushing.
And that's what makes incredible athletes.
Yeah.
Genuinely. But kind of like back to the hybrid points, we definitely sidetracked them massively.
Yeah, I feel like this is the way this podcast is going to
This
go,
is
and I'm
where we
here for
are.
it. Yeah, Emma's not here to keep us on track, so we're just going to roll
We're
with what
just
we're
gonna
doing.
carry on. But like obviously we had COVID and stuff like that. And I started working in the gym, doing PT sessions. I loved doing the functional side of things, loved holding the classes, that community element again, like pushing everyone as a team, like maybe pushing people to actually not breaking point, but like pushing them to that extreme of like being like, oh my God, shit, I've actually just done that.
Yeah, making people realize what they can achieve. You're pushing them past their like natural, like their body's natural like block where they think, oh, I can't do that, and you're there to kind of politely encourage them that they
and
can.
then yeah, exactly that. And I think it's such a superpower to be able to do that as a person, and do that and gives people that insight of being unstoppable. Like that's my word, unstoppable. Like I always say it, like that's what our girls are. They are unstoppable on the team. And it is hard, it's not easy. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say it is, because it is hard. And the girls graft their asses off, but they are truly unstoppable because they're able to work through that discomfort and really, really push themselves to that next level. And
But do you think that's because you believe in them, or because like you've got a community where people believe in them and they can see other people do it, so then they think they can do it? Like, why do you think that is? Why do you...
I think it's because I'm not gonna lie, I believe in everybody. I think I am that person who's
You are
like,
the cheerleader.
oh, I mean, you saw me in London screaming.
Yeah, I was just about to say, yeah, we caught up at Olympia, didn't we? And you were just like,
Yeah,
sorry, I've got an athlete over there. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna go scream them. And we just all,
bear with
yeah.
me a second.
It was awesome though. It's the way you should be.
I'm one of them people who believes in someone before they believe in themselves, and I think that is
Yeah.
so important to do.
And everyone needs somebody like that. Like a lot of people don't find people like that, but
I don't think there's a lot of people like us there. Like, I genuinely
yeah.
think there is, because you've got people who say that they are, but they're not. And I
Well,
think,
it's what you said at the beginning, isn't it? It's like whether you're there for people to bring people on and get them to get the best out themselves, or it's whether people are there because they've seen Hyrox is doing quite well and they want to make a fast buck off the back of a
it's
very,
a massive injustice to people, like
yeah.
massive. And it actually gets me quite frustrated and annoyed, and like it just really like rubs my back up the wrong way, because I've obviously like I've got a lot of athletes now, and they've either been to other people or like they've done the apps and stuff like that. Obviously the apps don't really give you, they can have the community. I think there's some brilliant apps out there, but if you're wanting that one-to-one support, I think you need someone who's actually going to really back you.
I
Because
agree with that. I think you can't get
you
away
can't
from
be
that with
half
an
in,
app.
half out, can you?
Yeah.
You can't be
You've
like,
got to
oh,
choose what you want to, yeah, you've got to choose where you want to go, don't you? And find the right coach for you. And if you do, you get a
yeah,
lot more from an individual coaching perspective.
110%. And it's because me and Kirsty, who's one of our coaches, and also Holly as well, because we believe we can fix everything, we can sort everything out, because we can. And we have done. We've got a track record, like we've got 100% success rate, which is unheard of within like coaching. Like every single one of our girls meets their goals, what they want to meet. And yes, that is because of us as coaches helping them and believing in them, but they won't actually be able to do it if they didn't actually truly believe in themselves or
Agreed.
have that insight and doing it. Because it's like, oh, good and well, we're there being your cheerleaders, but they're the ones actually doing the work. It's not us.
But you're there to support them to believe that they can do the
Yeah,
work. I
I
think sometimes you
agree.
need a coach to believe in you. Like, for example, even, if you're doing a run and you give
Yeah,
someone a pace to do a run and they might be like, I can't run at that pace. And you're like, no, I think you can. Like, I've seen the stats. I've been
the
watching what you're
stats don't
doing.
lie,
I've
girls.
worked it out. This is what you can do. And then they go and do it. And because you believe they can do it, they probably will try. But if
Yeah,
they were following an app and it just said, a 10, run for an hour at 10K pace, like, or
yeah.
whatever, 5K, then they're going to think, oh, that's kind of what I can do. And then,
Or it kind of works off kind of what they've kind of inputted into the app, and it could have been that they had a really bad run
yeah, for sure.
for the testing session, for example, and it's come up and they're like, I think that's really demotivating as well for people when you do like a testing session and it's not the result that you want, even, and then you input it and then it's like, right, okay, well, this is kind of what's been worked out for you to be like your averages to build your pace. And when you're doing these sessions, you're demotivated anyway, because it's off the back of a bad test, if that makes sense. Whereas if
And
you
that's where you
actually
need the
have that
human interaction.
human connection, to
Mm.
like, is that a true to life test?
Yeah, and you can come up with like even just like you said, working with females and the time you are in your cycle,
Yeah,
then there's times when you want to go for a PB or you want to go for an effort, and there's times that you really don't because your body's just not going to be there. Like your core temperature is going to be raised, you're going to be feeling bloated, you're going to be tired and lethargic, and that is just not the time to try
yeah,
and hit that session. So if you're working with an individual one-to-one, they can be like, look, this isn't the time to hit it. Like, let's wait for a week. You'll feel a lot better and we'll hit it then. Let's just have an easy week this week. And yeah.
100%. Like we work with a lot of girls, not a lot, like we've got probably about 5 who've got like endometriosis, PCOS. And with them, like if their testing week falls on like the like menstruation week, it's like absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like absolutely not. Do not bother. And then, for example, like with me the other week, I did like my time trial, my 5K time trial, and honestly, it was the hottest. I think it was like one of the hottest days in the UK
Yeah, I
today.
think I saw you say, I know.
Oh my God, it was like 27 degrees.
I
And
know
it was
yeah, it's been
hot.
boiling. And the effect of that when you,
Dehydration,
yeah,
exhaustion.
when you're not used to running in it.
Oh, I actually said to my nutritionist, I was like, do you reckon it's worth if I go and do like a camp abroad like a few weeks before the race, and then when it's easier when I come back?
Yeah, yeah.
He went, well, if you're planning on doing races abroad, then yeah, but obviously I'm doing Birmingham, so it's going to be probably chucking
Hey,
it.
don't doubt Birmingham. You never know.
I mean,
Like,
we could have an Indian summer. We could have an Indian summer.
yeah, I
Right?
don't think it's ever been warm in Birmingham, really.
No, but
And I
yeah.
can say that because I'm from there, so I can not Birmingham.
But yeah, I think it's probably going to be raining. But like,
Yeah,
there's so many different variables, and it's like you need that human connection to kind of rational sometimes because it's so easy to get in your own head with all of it.
100%. Yeah, and that's what I just think is like so incredible. And I love that you've decided to like you've made your niche like big in like females up to get out there and to get involved. And I think now it's become kind of a movement almost with like the yeah, with the Rox Queens and with so many female athletes and so many female coaches empowering other women. It's such a nice like community rather than women against women, which you can see. It's
Yeah,
become women for women and bringing everyone up and realizing there's a place for everybody. It's not, you know, it's us or it's them or, oh God, they're doing it and now I want to do better. Or it's just everybody bringing everybody in and trying to empower everybody to get to where they need to be. And it's just, yeah, it's ace to see. Even like the fact that doubles women's category at Hyrox is the biggest category.
yeah,
Like incredible.
it's mad in the best possible way, and I absolutely love the fact that the girls are selling out the tickets within like 5 minutes of them being released.
I know. And then probably finding the matching outfits as well, because that's
Yeah,
like that's the other part of
that's
it, isn't
why everyone does it, isn't it?
it?
That's why everyone does it. Do you know what? Actually, this is completely off subject, but what gives me the ache is when you've got matching outfit but different trainers. Like,
Oh,
you know what I mean? You've got to have
yeah.
a full,
Like you've
can't
gone
just
full matching and then you've just let it go at the last hurdle.
literally at the last hurdle. Just get the same colour at least. Do you know what I mean?
Get the same colour. It doesn't matter if you can't run in them, but just make sure they're matching.
No, I actually developed that ick myself. So like I can actually say it's an ick because I did develop that myself because me and my partner in Manchester when I did my first, my trainers didn't come like the same because I've got massive feet. I had to order mine online. I couldn't just go into the shop and order them. I'm saying that I'm a size 8, so it's not too big, but it's like big for a woman. Anyway, couldn't get them in the shop. So I had to go and get this pink pair. And I was just like, this just does not go.
Oh, what colour was your outfit?
It was like green. It doesn't go. It doesn't
Oh yeah, that's a bit clashy, isn't it?
But it was like, do you know the pink Puma DV8 Nitros? It was them fit, and I was like, this just isn't the one.
Were
But
you like, I can't race?
even that alone, like, knocked my confidence because I was like, this just does not go in this outfit. But I
And
was
that,
like, you know what, just frigging embrace it.
just do it, just get it done. But that is a really good point. Maybe because people can wear like cool outfits and people are like taking a pride in what they wear and
Yeah.
like matching and stuff. It is another thing, like you said, about a confidence thing, like turning up, feeling good, like finding an outfit that you both really like. It's quite a cool concept, really.
For sure. And even like racing on your own, like what I've started doing now is like we do a lot of mindset with the girls, but like visualize yourself on the race day. Like, what are you wearing? How's your hair? Have you got a bit of makeup on? How are you feeling? Like fully like embody like what that person would be on race day of success.
That's cool.
And it's been an absolute game changer.
Has
Obviously,
yours been, have you been in pink trainers or have you been in the trainers you expect? Yeah, yeah, you're like never again.
I'm not a pink person. I'm like blues and greens. Like
Okay, yeah.
I'm just not pink. So yeah, I've been in blue and white thingy trainers. But I'll be in probably gonna be in the, do you know, the orange and like the orangey coloured DV8 Nitros.
Okay, yeah, the new ones they've got out now.
Yeah. Probably in them. And I think they're quite a cool trainer to be fair.
Yeah, they're quite wild, they're quite bright. I just think the trainers just got to get bright.
Yeah.
I really like the bright ones.
Or
Just
like
got the
white.
new vapor flies just for running, the new night vapor flies, and they're like they've got all those like orange like speckly bit on the bottom. They're so wild.
Oh,
I was
nice.
like, they look good. They're a good looking trainer.
Or fast shoe then. That's
Yeah.
a PB shoe fit.
That is a PB shoe, isn't it? For
That is a
sure.
PB shoe.
Although we were speaking to Zara and she said she did a Hyrox in them and she put a like or someone she knows, they went in the rower, and because they're pointed at the back, and when they got out the rower, ripped it off. So never done a Hyrox in one. Just didn't use the Saucony. I know they're too expensive to do that. To rip
honestly, I absolutely love them.
Yeah, they're such good running trainers though. So okay, let's move on to the official Hyrox Ambassador. Like, talk us through that. How did you get involved last year? How did it come about again this year? What does it mean? Like, for people that are seeing it, like, give us a bit of a lowdown. What do you ambassadors do? Do you have chats? Do you meet up?
So
let us know what the deal is.
I'm not gonna lie, I've no idea why they approached me. Like, I have absolutely no idea. I mean, I do, but at the same time, it's like
maybe it was the pink trainers.
Maybe it was the pink.
Maybe it was.
I actually think it was because my Manchester video went viral on TikTok.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, honestly, it's one of the highest TikTok like Hyrox things on there, and it blew up. So I'm not saying it's down to me why the women of Hyrox are to be, but
fair.
I may have had like an input in that side of things, with that video on Manchester, which was and I think that's absolutely mad. Like, I was part of that. But I think because I've always been very passionate about it and like my journey, of how it's actually made me quite unstoppable. Like, my mental resilience, I thought I always had it, but like this sport has taught me mental resilience like nothing else, and being able to pull myself out of quite bad places mentally, obviously, because my mum passed away, and that's the whole reason why I kind of, cut a long story short, that's why I got into Hyrox, because I needed that mental distraction to push me to that extreme, because like we were saying about stress, I was that person who just pushes and pushes like my body to the extreme to completely distract from the other noise going on. So I think it's because they saw my journey and how much I'd grown as a person, not necessarily as an athlete, because in that first season of being an ambassador, I got bloody injured. Like, that I got injured. I was very much not really progressing, but as a person, I've grown so much. Like, I'm so much more confident. I'm just a better person to be around with her. Like, my boyfriend goes mad at me, Carl, because he's like, you don't speak about anything else other than Hyrox and running.
Hyrox.
I was like, it's my personality. I'm sorry.
But I think you make a good point, and this is nice that they're saying it. I mean, the mix of ambassadors, like, it's from everyone. It's not just elite athletes though. It's not, they haven't picked ambassadors because they're like, you're the best Hyrox performer. They're picking it because it embraces the community. And like, you've just identified then that just what you said, like how much you've grown through Hyrox. Like, that's probably more important to anybody than actually performing at the top end, I would argue, because
100%.
most of Hyrox is the 98% that are there to prove something to themselves, to do something for somebody they may have lost, to be a great role model to their kids or to somebody else. It's more than just the top end of the sport.
100%. And I think that's the beauty of having the ambassadors there, because there's just so many diverse different people. So obviously, like, you got Daryl now, who's like got this nutritional standpoint of Hyrox, who'll like put information about it. That you've then got like people like Celia, who's like went to Worlds in her first season, so that's inspiring to like the other people, and like the content she puts on it, they're like helpful workouts and stuff like that is also useful. You got like Hannah Hegarty, who's also like a Hyrox coach, but also like she's with Graham as well, but like, because they've got that community up in Scotland, it's bringing people up together as well, and that's really amazing. You've then got like people like Dan Amos, who's like very similar to myself, who's been on this massive transformational journey, not just physically but also mentally as well, and like bringing him into a better place and making him a better person. And like, and like people like Rob James as well, who's got an incredible community as well. Like, it's about the community, not just the people who are elite level. And I think that's brilliant. But then also as well, like, the community of ambassadors it's completely shifted this last year. and to be honest, I was quite shocked that I was still kept on as an ambassador because of the shift in ambassadors. Very, very grateful to be part of it again. Because the shift was so diverse. But then also as well, I feel like the shift in Hyrox this next year is going to be massive again. So they need the people there who's going to support it with what they're aligning with now as well. So yeah, but then obviously there is meetups, there is a group chat. Our role as ambassadors is to be there for the community, be there like as spokeswomen, men, as to say, like, obviously we're not like what would you call it? We're not like a help desk person,
helpline.
like a
that we can
helpline
ring
person.
up.
If you can't get through to Hyrox, we're no use because we've no idea what's going
Yeah,
on.
you don't work for Hyrox.
You
You're
don't
not
work
like,
for Hyrox.
yeah, you're not there to sort out ticket sales or
Yeah,
transfers and things
no,
like
like
that.
I can help, I can guide you, but like we're not like your information. We are your information desk, but not into the point like customer service. Like that's not us. If you've got a customer service issue, still continue to email Hyrox because
Yeah.
we're no use, no good. We're just there to help you as a community, help build community events, be there as spokesmen and women in terms of being them superheroes of the sport, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
And kind of answer the day-to-day questions within the sport. So like what trainers would you wear? What would you recommend, like in terms of what to wear on the day? What would you take with you on the race day? Or how does you even when you arrive on race day, like what's kind of the situation? Like where do you go get your tags and drop your bags off? Like, or even like event layouts and stuff like that. But then also as well, like to be that friendly person there on events day of being like, you're not just on your own. Like
Yeah.
there is loads of us there as well to help you, to speak to you, calm you down, settle you down, or even like race against you and kind of push each other in the race as well.
Yeah. The support, isn't it? Is that support of, especially when you've never been to one before and now they've got so big, it is quite overwhelming when you walk into into Excel, into Olympia, and like Manchester, wherever you go, like especially the UK ones, there's so many people and there's so much going on, and everyone looks like an athlete, everyone's got six packs and matching outfits, and it is a bit like, phew, let me know. Like, where'd you go if you've never been there before? To have that support network, which is actually incredible, and this is probably why Hyrox has become such a huge thing and is expanding year on year, is just because they've thought about the everyday athlete, and they've thought about, for example, putting ambassadors in place to support the community. It's all the system's there to try and help grow the sport and to help people have the best experience they can.
Yeah, 100%. And it is all about elevating the community because that's why Hyrox is so incredible. Like it genuinely is, and it is the sport for everyday people. For like, yeah, obviously you got your full-time athletes, but then also as well at the same time, it's for normal people to share the floor with their elites
and do the same thing, the same
do
course,
exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
The same, like you said, the same course, the same movements, the same standards, like everyone's held to the same standard. And I think that is incredible because you can go into some sports and it's like, well, they're better than you, so we'll kind of let you off. Whereas like the judges, the volunteers at Hyrox, if they're judging you on race day and you've not holded yourself to the standard, they will correct you. Doesn't matter if you're 70 odd years old or you're 16 years old, like they're gonna pull you back and hold you onto that because they're helping you be that better person. And yeah, in the race, you might be like, oh my God, what man kind of situation, like I'm not doing that. Or like kind of might have a bit of a fuss and a mirror. But at the same time, everyone else is being treated like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's the parity across every single person that comes into the sport, for sure.
100%. And it's like, no matter where you're from, who you are, what culture, religion, like everyone is the same. And I think that is why Hyrox has been so amazing for everybody, not just like people who do it, but like people around it as well.
Yeah, for sure. Because like even people that like don't race and might volunteer or come and spectate. And I know we've had friends that have spectated and then they've been like, oh, maybe I will do one, because they've been there and they've been in the atmosphere and they've been able to see it first before they've wanted to give it a go. Maybe seen people that inspire them or look like them, or, you know, just think, you know, there's a mum and she's got like 3 kids, she's just finished, and then her kids are there and they think, oh, maybe I could do it then, because I didn't think I could do it because I've got kids and I haven't got time. But if you see somebody else like you do it, you can only be what you can see, can't you? And then people kind of think, oh, maybe I should give it a go. And I think that's
like that atmosphere on race day, there's just nothing else to compare it to.
And people get the buzz then, and it's like you want to achieve something,
So
don't you? Yeah, it really is, isn't it? It's definitely that type 2 fun where people say like you hate it in the minute. You know, you're definitely at a station or 2 stations where you're running around going, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? How am I going to finish? And then suddenly you have finished, and then you're like, oh, that was great. I'll do it again. Yeah.
That's what it is. Always.
And then so looking forward then, Lhea, like the 24-25 season, talk us through it. Have you booked anything? Have you got anything going? Like any events on? Like what does it look like for Lhea moving into this next season then, as we're prepping for your first race in Birmingham?
Yeah.
And so then where are we going?
Pro race again is Birmingham. So that's my first solo race since coming back from injury. So I'm just going to I'm going to use it as a gauge, that one. I'm not going to put pressure on that.
Yeah, a bit of a benchmark and see where you are and just
be race. Yeah, because we're athletes. That's what we call the ones that the ones that we're trying on, but we're not trying. That's going to be my B race, and then I've got Stockholm again.
Is that in December? Is that December? Yeah.
Because I'm really like being a bit more structured with my race this season, because last time I was like, I'll do this race, I'll just book onto that one last minute, I'll do this. And then that's how I got injured, and that's just not what I want to do again. And I also want to see some like big improvements between races as well. And I just want to reiterate that as well. If you're wanting to do well, don't just book a race every 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Like you need at least 6 to 8 weeks between minimum.
Yeah. And you're training with Dina? Like Dina Hogan, and she came on and we talked about the structure of the race season, which is cool to see. Have you found it good? Has she been ace to train with?
For sure. Like my running is just
I mean, she's the girl to go to, isn't it?
She's a runner, isn't she? So she has reined me in a few times, because like when I did that time trial, I was like, I'm just not getting any better. Because we all do it.
Yeah, 100%.
And she's reined me in completely. She's like, Lhea, you're going to get to where you want to be. I'm 100% certain that you're going to get there. Just sort your head out a second. Obviously, she's going to tell you straight.
Yeah.
Not beating around the bush. Just sort it out. Just sort your head out. I was like, all right. And then I went and knocked out a sim in an hour and 1. So it's like,
obviously. You win something, and you can't always have a good day, can you? Like everyone's got to remember that you can't always. Every training session isn't great. It's just the consistency and ticking it off. So you can't expect to perform every single time you go out and do a training session.
Exactly. So obviously Birmingham's the B race. Some pressure on that one. And then we've got Stockholm, which is going to be like an A race.
Okay.
Planning Manchester to do a doubles, because I always feel a lot of pressure in Manchester because it's at my home
race.
Home race. So I'm going to do a doubles with Rob James, I think.
Okay, cool.
One of the other ambassadors. He come on my podcast a few weeks ago now, and was talking about like the pressure and stuff, and was just like, let's just do a doubles together. Like,
nice. Yeah.
We'll take the pressure off each other. We'll just do it for a bit of fun.
Have a good crack, yeah.
We did the sim together, and we got an hour and 1 having fun and taking it easy. So I was like, right, okay, well maybe we could actually really push, and the competitiveness just come.
Yeah, you're not going to do it for fun, are you?
Anyway, but we had a lot of fun doing the sim, so it was like, right, that's good. Then I don't know where else, because I want to obviously do another solo race. I want to probably do another solo race and probably another doubles race with Kirsty, who's one of our coaches on the team. And I'd probably find another one. I'd like to do Barcelona.
Yeah, that would be a cool one,
Love to
wouldn't
do
it?
Barcelona. I know that's a major as well this year as well.
What about
So
Glasgow? So that's a major as well, isn't it?
Glasgow, I'll be going up there.
But maybe not racing.
Maybe not racing, depending on how close races are.
Fair.
Um, but we'll see on Glasgow. Do love the Glasgow course, and I know a lot of people aren't a fan of the Glasgow course and the chicane bit, but I love that.
I mean, people are getting fast times there. It's been a fast course, so
I absolutely love it. I think it's fast because obviously it's only 2 laps, really, isn't it?
yeah, you can just get going, can't you?
Yeah, brilliant. But that's kind of like my season, and then we're end of season again. Hopefully, get to Worlds this season.
Well, yeah, we don't know where that is yet, do we? Haven't
No,
listened to.
they've got
They're gonna have to release it soon, aren't they?
Even, this is what I mean. Like people asking us where it's going to be. When's Manchester? We don't know. Like we
Yeah,
don't know anything
yeah.
up until like 24 hours before.
I know. I mean, even like you listen to all the Elite 15 guys, and they have no idea how they're going to structure their year because they didn't know where the majors were until they released them to everyone. They were like, we don't get any insight. They just release them when they release them, which is quite nice as well. Then they obviously don't want the stuff to slip, do they? And,
Well, no, they want
everyone
it to
likes to talk.
big thing, don't they?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my race season. We've got quite a few Rox Queens events like happening in the background, in the fruition. It's really, really hard with the Rox Queens to get them like to cater to everybody, because obviously like some people are gonna have to travel a little bit further, even if it's us in the north.
Yeah.
If we just do Manchester or just Liverpool, or kind of like go towards like Stoke, where like people are still going to have to drive out, so it's really, really hard to plan it out, but we're trying to split it as fairly as possible. So we've got a few things going on in the background with that. I'm going to be holding another like High Unlocked event, which is my own event that we do, which is basically really, really good, whether you're a beginner, whether you're a returning athlete, for you to kind of get a better idea in terms of like training, understand how to structure your training, but also as well like understand the race a little bit better, so you don't make the silly mistakes that could cost you time, technique, form, efficiency, like working on the ergs and stuff. You can save so much time if you do your technique properly. So we talk about that, and then we go into obviously like the importance of recovery. So we'll speak about nutrition, we'll speak about mobility, injury prevention, sleep, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll do like a mindset session at the end, which is kind of like visualization, realigning, like really getting your head in the game, really focused, ready for the season. Planning on doing that at the end of September, just confirming dates with venues and stuff. But it will be like Manchester based. And trying to think if they've got anything else.
I mean, that's pretty packed.
Probably will have other things.
Yeah, there'll be loads. There'll be loads. You're always busy.
Yeah, 100%. And then we're down in London with the Hyrox Ambassadors at the end of the month as well, which will be really, really good because everyone's just coming together. No idea what we're doing. We just got told, can you be free this day, full day? And was like, yeah, we'll do that.
Happy days.
So yeah, that's it. And then we're a year down again.
I know, don't. It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, it's crazy to even think it's August now. I don't know where this year's gone, but
I was thinking that this year. And do you know what I was thinking that because I was like, I've had 4 months out of running with my injury from Manchester. I was like, I can't believe how fast that's actually gone.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Absolutely
crazy. So that is an awesome place to wrap stuff up. We've done the Cheeky Insights with you before. So if anyone wants to listen to Lea's Cheeky Insights, go and listen to the Rox Queens podcast that we did with the Rox Queens. But where can anyone find you, Lhea? Like where do we find you to go on your like Rox Queen stuff, to come on like when you get your Manchester based training days sorted?
Sure.
How do they reach out to you as a Hyrox ambassador? Give us we'll put the links in, but give us some
literally for everything, literally reach out via Instagram. I'm not gonna lie, I'm terrible with my Instagram messages. So FYI, if I take a few hours or a few days to reply, I'm not being rude, I'm just terrible on there. So I'm always on my WhatsApp, but I ain't giving my number out.
Yeah, probably not best on this.
So if you want to contact me, you can go on Instagram and it's Lhea.highlifecoaching. And Lhea spelled L-H, obviously you'll put it all, won't you? But it's L-H-E-A rather than L-E-A-H. And then obviously as well, we've got podcast, which is also called the Unstoppable Podcast on Spotify and YouTube. I'm also going to start doing more like behind the scenes YouTubey stuff as well.
Awesome.
Which
is that what's your YouTube channel? Is that Unstoppable?
So it'll just be, so you've got obviously the podcast on there, and then it's just Lhea Terzaki on YouTube.
Okay, perfect.
As well. But yeah.
Awesome.
About that behind the scenes stuff, because I'm not gonna lie, my life's a little bit boring, even though it's so busy.
I think though sometimes you think your life's boring, but other people are intrigued as to what you're doing, you know? And that's like you might just take it for granted, but like people are probably like, oh, how does she train? What does she do? And especially with you talking about nutrition and things like that, people will be wondering what you eat before you go for your run, when you come back, and you know, setting up for events and the stuff you do, the Rox Queens. I think you got a bunch of stuff to go on about. You don't always have to go out at night and, you know, get hammered and have a drunken walk. Yeah, exactly. I don't think many people do anymore.
No, I think that's also another thing with Hyrox as well. It's completely changed people's lives in terms of like the social.
Agreed. More people are I don't know whether it's like a generational thing now, but like I would say like my parents' generation thing, it was always like go to the pub, have a drink. And now like generations now, it's like, oh, we go and train and we go for brunch, or like, you know,
it's training and brunch day any day.
It's like, yeah, 100% it's become the thing, hasn't it? Like it's quite nice. It's definitely a healthier generation, I think, coming through now.
Which is good.
For sure.
100%. But yeah.
Well, mate, thank you so much for your time this morning. It's a Sunday morning. But we've both managed to get our training done and then come and have a chat. So happy days. And thank you to everybody that's listening. Please head over to Leah's Instagram, give her a shout, follow her for all things Hyrox, Rox Queens, High Life, all the highs. And yeah, stay in touch with her for everything that's coming up. Thank you, Lhea, for everything you've been doing for like the female community and bringing everyone on board for being everyone's cheerleader. It's really nice to have more females, empowering females. So yeah, I just want to say thanks from us to you guys for everything you've been doing. And we will catch you on the next podcast.